What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. We got to talk a little bit about the Suns Summer League and some of the discourse that's been going on about Maluach. Now, I don't know what some people expected, but there is this growing narrative about how much he has struggled is kind of the common term right now for the Summer League and kind of where he is, what he's done, what he's been able to perform or lack thereof on the court. And I guess my main question is did any of you guys watch tape? What did you expect from this guy? He's a project, as almost every single big man that comes out of college is. There has very rarely been a fine-tuned big man that comes out of college and goes straight in the NBA and dominates. And almost never when they're a one and done. That is extremely rare. Anthony Davis might be the closest thing. And it took a while for him to really kind of evolve into what he is. Maluach didn't start playing basketball until he was 14. He's 18 right now, so he's only been playing for 4 years. And if you watched him in college, he was at times unplayable for Duke. And we're talking about a 5-star guy that was known to be a lottery pick and a guy that a lot of people had projected in the top 5. But there was times where teams were spreading out Duke and attacking the rim and going at him and forcing him to guard straight up. And they were better with him off the court and going with a smaller lineup. This is a lottery pick. It's going to take him time to kind of get used to this. If you watch him move, he's still not terribly comfortable with how big this guy is. He's a 7-footer. That being said, some of the numbers aren't great in the Summer League, but I don't think they're concerning. And I think people need to just kind of calm down a little bit. So in a couple of games that he has played, against the Timberwolves, he had 25 minutes, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, a couple of turnovers. The one that hurts, 6 fouls, and he was a minus 19 in plus-minus in his minutes. Not great. Against the Kings, 24 minutes, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 turnovers, 4 fouls, and he was a minus 14. So in quick math, 49 minutes of game time right now. He is a minus 33 in a plus-minus. It's Summer League. These are 90% of these players will never see the NBA court. More than that, probably. I mean, take from it what you will. It's not really that big of a deal with plus-minus. You're going to be playing alongside guys that aren't going to be in the league. It's whatever. The fouls are a little concerning. But the deal with the fouls is Maluach is a elite help side defender. He's not great straight up. Well, I should say he's pretty good straight up against back to the basket defenders or defenders that are offensive players that are his guy. Where he struggles is if a guard gets beat and there is a straight line to the rim, he still doesn't know how to defend that without committing a foul. Guards do a pretty good job of going into his chest and then getting to the rack, and, he gets in foul trouble from that. So the point of attack has to win. He's not great yet at learning how to avoid getting that contact that's going to be called a foul and using his length to get some sort of block or deflection, which, as long as he can certainly do. But again, his strength is help side defense and coming over. If you are able to slow a guy down on the rim and they try and go up over the top of you, Maluach is going to send that to the 5th row. He comes from the weak side and uses all that length, and he just basically patrols the paint and blocks everything that comes anywhere near there. That's his strength right now. Offensively, you can throw him a lob, you can get a rebound every now and then and get a finish. He's not a guy that you're going to dump it into. I don't know if he'll ever be that. I don't know if the NBA is ever going to allow for a big man to do that right now unless they're like Shaq or Embiid, a guy that is just absolutely unstoppable because they're so in love with analytics. So that's just been something that's almost been phased out of the NBA. The things that are a little concerning for me, again, I think the foul trouble is kind of expected. I think there's a learning curve. I don't really look at the plus minus as a problem. What I get a little concerned with is the fact that through these games, he is now 2 for 7 on threes. And it's not the fact that he's 2 for 7 as far as the percentage wise. It's the fact that he has taken 7 threes. I don't want him shooting anything outside of a dunk, just about. I have no idea why or where the green light is coming for him to shoot threes. That is not his game. That is not something that they should be looking at all. And if they are wanting him to be a guy that can be a stretch big, they didn't watch game tape. This is going to be crazy if you allow this guy to be a guy that plays from the outside. He can't dribble. He's not going to be a guy that, so what do you think he's going to be, Brook Lopez? Brook Lopez evolved into being an elite corner 3 shooter or long range, sometimes on the pick and pop. But he can put the ball on the ground a little bit. And he also had a good shot and a good touch on the post. He's a guy that could hit some turnarounds and stuff like that. That's not Maluach. It looks uncomfortable for him shooting jump shots. I don't have any idea where it's coming from or they're letting him actually shoot threes. That needs to stop yesterday. I don't care if it's summer league or not. You need to build good habits, and him shooting threes is a very concerning habit for me. But I think people need to just pump the brakes on a lot of the rest of the stuff and not really get too concerned with it. It's only a couple of games. It's going to take him more than just this season before he feels comfortable and really kind of at place on an NBA court. And it's going to take him several years to start reaching his potential. He is a project. Do not expect him to come in just because he was a lottery pick and dominate the league day one. I don't know if he's ever going to dominate the league. I think the comp of where he can get to of a player that you would love is Dikembe Mutombo, a guy that patrols the paint, gets a lot of blocks, catches lobs, and becomes, comfortable running the court a little bit. That's a good player. Dikembe Mutombo's, probably going to be a guy that in conversations people think will have a chance at being Hall of Famer. He was a former Defensive Player of the Year. If they get that, that's awesome. That's a great use of that pick, and that's a great piece to have out on the court. But people get concerned about his shooting percentage as far as the fact that, he's only getting 8 points and 7 rebounds in some of these games, and that he looks a little bit uncomfortable on defense and is getting some fouls. What are you watching? And I'm not talking about these summer league games. Did you watch any games of him at Duke? Because I watched a lot, and this was expected. And I guarantee you the Suns also knew this was expected, which goes back to one of the biggest gripes that I have had with the Suns this offseason. Maluach has to play minutes, has to get time out there and get used to the NBA game. And there's a steep learning curve for him, but he's going to do that out on the court, not from the bench. So why did they trade and go get Mark Williams? It makes no sense. You're not competing this year. You needed that first-round pick. Gave it up for a guy that is going to be a free agent in a couple of years, a guy that has had some injury problems, a guy whose motor and whose drive has been questioned a lot. Granted, it was Charlotte. There's a lot of people that don't want to be in Charlotte or play hard there. But unless you're just saying Maluach is going to go up against him in practice and this is going to be good for them, except NBA players, teams don't really practice anymore. Their practices are walkthroughs almost at best. Maluach has got to get on the court. And you're taking those minutes away, and you take away from his development. So if you're concerned about what you saw from him in these first couple games that he's played in the Summer League, well, unless he's playing, he ain't going to get any better. And so that Mark Williams trade should be really the more concerning thing for you right now. But I, long-term, don't have any concerns about him right now. because I expected to see this right now. And so the question is, how bad does he want it? How bad does he want to work to get better, to kind of figure out where his ceiling is? And I just always go back to that image of him on draft night and how much it meant to him hearing his name being called and watching him cry with Adam Silver and knowing what this opportunity means for him. I don't think he's a guy that's going to waste it. I just think if you're upset over 2 games, you have no idea what the timeline is for him. It's 2 years. It's not 2 games. So get used to it, because this is going to be something you're going to see for a while.